Welcome to Front Page Index. My name is Alex Datig. Los Angeles County District Attorney George Gasco wants his voters to think he is a reformer unlike any they have ever seen before. But the reality of his supposedly well-intended ideas can be seen daily on every sidewalk in Los Angeles and in news stories about violent crime, theft, robberies, and drug overdose. George Gascon's agenda is designed to exploit victims, take away police powers where needed, confuse you with data, and continuously create bureaucratic chaos and unsafe conditions in our communities. Let's take a look at how we got here. In 2009, California state prisons housed nearly 160,000 prisoners, which was nearly twice as many inmates as California's then 33 prisons were designed to hold. Conditions were so dire that in 2011, the United States Supreme Court affirmed a lower court ruling by a three-judge panel that concluded, quote, "It would be possible to reduce the prison population in a manner that preserves public safety and the operation of the criminal justice system." End quote. But today we can see preserving the criminal justice system while implementing reforms was a lot more complex than anyone could have imagined in 2011. The United States Supreme Court ordered California to reduce its prison population by 33,000 inmates, citing physical and mental health conditions and even death from prison overcrowding. This goal was achieved through AB 109, which called for the release of nonviolent offenders and early parole eligibility. By 2013, the California prison population was reduced, but to continue to meet capacity targets, additional actions were necessary. There was no guidance from the Supreme Court on how officials go about reducing the prison population, but there was consensus among well-funded drug legalization proponents that decriminalizing and even legalizing drugs would result in a reduction of prison overcrowding, thereby satisfying the order of the Supreme Court. Data-driven campaigns showing racial disparities where people living in underserved communities were disproportionately being arrested and imprisoned validated arguments of what criminologists refer to as the strain theory. Tools used to maintain capacity targets of the Supreme Court prison population reduction goal began in 2014 when unassuming voters enacted George Gasco co-authored Prop 47 called the Safe Neighborhoods and Schools Act, decriminalizing meth, heroin, cocaine, now fentanyl possession, financial crimes, and lessening penalties for property crimes. Let the record show that neither our schools or neighborhoods have been kept safe by Prop 47 as determined in the Supreme Court ruling, which appears not to have a sunset clause. Instead, drug addiction, homelessness, and lawlessness plague Los Angeles County and California. In 2016, Californians also voted for Prop 57, favoring early release and parole for nonviolent offenders and making it more difficult to try juveniles as adults. AB 109 and Prop 57 also brought on the reclassification of what is considered a violent offense. As Prop 64 and 47 became law, we saw a rise of a legal drug market promising tax revenues and criminal justice system cost savings that could be reinvested into the community. This does leave you to wonder where all these cost savings went, as the governor of the state of California predicts a $68 billion budget deficit for 2024. In addition, the California Bureau of Prisons says there are 15,000 empty prison beds and that it has no plan to make further capacity reductions despite the number of empty beds being projected to reach nearly 20,000 by 2027. California has closed down at least one prison and is planning to close down several more to stay on track with capacity targets. In February of 2023, the California Department of Corrections reported the state now has about 95,600 inmates, showing a lot of progress being made to reduce prison overcrowding. How the courts and the legislature evaluate the unintended consequences of the 2011 Supreme Court ruling is difficult to predict in a state like California. Conditions created in the state have led hundreds of thousands of residents to flee to other states. What Los Angeles County and California voters can do is elect leaders who will enforce existing laws on our books. George Gascon is not one of them. From the front lines of America's leading political news and opinion, I'm Alex Datig with Front Page Index. Politics for you.